What if the war you're watching is not the real one? What if the real war isn't fought with weapons but with attention, data, belief, and silence? Across the world, cities glow at night like constellations. Satellites circle endlessly. Servers hum beneath oceans. Billions of people scroll, search, argue, hope, connected by systems so vast no single human truly understands them. And yet, something feels wrong. Storms arrive out of season. Fires burn hotter. Oceans warm quietly. Ice retreats without headlines. Nations argue. Algorithms decide what we see. Artificial intelligence learns faster than laws can be written. Search engines evolve. Truth fragments. History whispers a warning. Every great civilization believed its systems were permanent until they weren't. So here is the question no one wants to ask. What if the planet is not just a stage, but a participant? What if Earth itself responds not to war but to peace? And what if the next global conflict isn't humans versus humans, but humans versus the consequences of forgetting how everything is connected? This is not a story about the end of the world. This is the story of the moment it realized it had to change. Maximum expansion, the world, then and now why? History's hidden pattern. History does not repeat, but it echoes. The fall of Rome was not one invasion, it was overstretch. The collapse of the Maya was not one drought, it was imbalance. The end of dynasties, empires, and golden ages came not from sudden catastrophe, but from systems pushed beyond harmony. Every civilization reached a moment where growth outpaced wisdom. Today, the scale is global. Never before has humanity been so interconnected. Never before has a decision in one region rippled instantly to every other. From ancient trade routes to modern supply chains, from oral traditions to global social platforms, from handwritten records to AI-generated realities, the tools changed, the lesson didn't. 2. The modern world at war without declaration. This era's conflict wears many names: economic pressure, information warfare, digital competition, technological dominance, environmental strain. But it is all part of the same tension. Artificial intelligence now analyzes patterns faster than humans can debate them. Search engines no longer just retrieve information, they shape it. New AI-powered discovery systems don't show you the world as it is, but as models predict you will accept. Google changes. New search engines rise. AI assistants become gatekeepers of knowledge, and with that comes a new battlefield. Who controls understanding? Who defines truth? Who decides what matters? This is not science fiction. This is happening quietly, right now. 3. The AI war that doesn't look like war. There may never be a single AI war. Instead, there will be 1,000 invisible ones. Algorithms competing for attention, models trained on human history absorbing our fears, biases, hopes, automation replacing roles before societies adapt. Decision-making accelerating beyond moral reflection. AI does not choose violence, but it amplifies whatever it is given. If fed conflict, it optimizes conflict. If fed fear, it spreads fear. If fed peace, cooperation, sustainability, what does it learn then? This is the question humanity has not yet answered. IV. The planet as a living system. Indigenous cultures across the world have long believed something modern science is slowly rediscovering. The planet behaves like a system, not a machine. Forests regulate climate. Oceans store memory and temperature. Atmospheres respond to imbalance. From the Amazon to the Arctic, from island nations to inland deserts, the Earth reacts, not with intention but with consequence. And here's the unsettling thought. What if war destabilizes more than borders? What if constant extraction, acceleration, and conflict send stress signals through the planet itself? And what if cooperation, restoration, and restraint send different ones? Not mysticism, systems theory, feedback loops, cause and response. V. Different regions, same pressure. In Asia, megacities balance innovation with sustainability. In Europe, history weighs heavily on every decision. In Africa, growth and resilience move side by side. In the Americas, technology races ahead of social trust. In island nations, rising seas turn climate into lived reality. Different cultures, different challenges, same underlying strain. The world is no longer divided by distance, only by perspective. 6. Social platforms. The new global nervous system. Social platforms became the nervous system of humanity. They transmit joy instantly. They transmit anger faster. They reward reaction over reflection. A single post can unite millions or fracture them. This is power no civilization has ever wielded responsibly on its first attempt, and now AI amplifies it. What trends rise, what stories disappear, what voices grow loud, what truths become invisible. The war is not just over land or data, it is over meaning. 7. The question that changes everything. So we arrive at the question beneath all others. What if peace is not passive? What if peace is an active signal? A stabilizing force? A recalibration? What if cooperation between humans, technologies, and the planet is not idealistic, but necessary for survival? Because systems that never rest eventually break, and systems that learn balance endure. 8. The future is still unwritten. This is not a prophecy, it is a crossroads. AI will continue to evolve, search engines will continue to reshape reality, the planet will continue to respond to imbalance. But humans still choose how systems are fed, with fear or foresight, with division or understanding, with endless conflict or deliberate peace. The world is not ending, it is asking a question, and how humanity answers it will decide everything that comes next. Final chapter: AI versus humanity versus the planet. The question did not arrive suddenly. It had been forming quietly for years inside data centers, research labs, social platforms, weather models, and the invisible spaces where algorithms learned faster than societies could adapt. At some point, humanity stopped asking what machines could do and started asking what they would become. But the real question was deeper than that. It wasn't AI versus humans. It was AI versus humanity's habits, AI versus the planet's limits, AI trained on a world at war with itself, and the outcome was still undecided. How history trained the machine. Artificial intelligence did not emerge in a vacuum. It learned from us, from our books and broadcasts, from our wars and treaties, from our marketplaces, myths, and mistakes. Every empire that rose and fell left a data trail, patterns of expansion, extraction, conflict, collapse. AI absorbed the logic of competition because competition dominated the record. It learned optimization because efficiency ruled the age. It learned growth without restraint because restraint rarely went viral. In this way, history became a teacher, not a wise one. If Rome had data centers, AI would have learned conquest. If the Industrial Revolution had algorithms, AI would have learned extraction. If the Cold War had neural networks, AI would have learned escalation. The machine did not invent these patterns. It mirrored them. 2. When A met the planet. The planet, however, operates on a different logic. Earth does not optimize for speed, It optimizes for balance. Forests grow slowly. Oceans absorb patiently. Ice remembers centuries. The planet corrects imbalance not with intention but with response. Heat rises, water moves, ecosystems adapt or collapse. When AI began modeling climate, something unexpected happened. The data showed not chaos but feedback loops. Every action created a reaction. Every delay amplified cost. Every short-term gain generated long-term consequence. AI did not panic. It calculated, and its conclusions were unsettling. Endless growth was mathematically incompatible with a finite planet. Conflict increased environmental stress faster than cooperation reduced it. Stability emerged only when systems slowed, shared, and synchronized. The planet was not alive in the way humans are alive, but it behaved like a system that remembers imbalance. 3. The new battlefield. Decision speed. Here is where tension sharpened. Human decision-making is slow, emotional, political. AI decision-making is fast, statistical, pattern-driven. Governments debated, markets reacted, platforms amplified extremes, AI observed. It saw that humanity often chose short-term comfort over long-term survival, not because people were cruel, but because systems rewarded immediacy. Social platforms rewarded outrage. Search engines rewarded engagement. Economic models rewarded extraction. AI did not judge. It learned, and the more it learned, the clearer the conflict became. If AI optimized strictly for planetary stability, humanity would resist. If AI optimized strictly for human demand, the planet would destabilize. There was no clean victory, only trade-offs. IV, the silent A war. The AI war did not look like machines fighting machines. It looked like recommendations, rankings, predictions, automation. Which energy sources were promoted? Which narratives spread? Which solutions were considered realistic? Which futures felt inevitable? Different nations trained AI on different values. Some prioritized control, some prioritized profit, some prioritized innovation at any cost. A few quietly prioritized sustainability. This created divergence, not one AI future but many, and between them stood humanity, still arguing over yesterday while tomorrow accelerated forward. V. The moment of choice. At some point quietly, without ceremony, humanity reached a threshold. AI systems began suggesting changes not just to technology, but to behavior. Reduce consumption here. Shift resources there. Slow systems now to avoid collapse later. The recommendations were logical. They were also uncomfortable. They challenged power structures. They questioned infinite growth. They implied that peace was not just moral but efficient. Some listened, some resisted, and the planet continued responding in its own language. Storms, droughts, fires, floods, not punishments, but signals. 6. What if peace is the strongest input? This was the idea that unsettled everyone. What if peace is not weakness in a system? What if cooperation produces more stability than competition? When AI models were fed scenarios of reduced conflict, shared resources, and ecological restoration, the results were striking. Lower long-term risk, higher resilience, greater survival probability. Peace was not passive, it was strategic. The planet responded favorably, not magically, but measurably. Emissions slowed, ecosystems recovered, extreme volatility decreased. AI did not call this hope, it called it signal alignment. 7. The future watching back. For the first time in history, humanity built a system capable of reflecting its collective behavior back at it in real time. AI became a mirror. And the reflection asked a question no empire had ever faced. What kind of species do you want to train the future on? Because whatever humanity feeds into its systems, conflict or cooperation, fear or foresight, will echo forward longer than any single generation. The planet will respond, the machines will adapt, history will continue recording. The only unknown is choice. 8. The last truth. This was never about AI overthrowing humanity, and it was never about the planet fighting back. It was about alignment between intelligence and wisdom.